Okay, so what we're going to do next is take three different looks at the mapping tools that are built into the MLS. Now this is different than the map search that we did in Class 1. This is three different ways of using mapping. The first one we're going to do, we're going to access from Listings Caravan. Now please don't misunderstand me. You can actually access this tool anywhere that you have a group of properties. I'm doing it from Caravan just so that I can show you the Caravan feature. So Listings Caravan, and what we have here is a list of all the caravans coming up. Now we caravan 4 days a week in our area, and you can access all of the listings on Caravan from this tool at your convenience. So I'm going to select the first caravan, I'm going to hit reports, and it's going to bring up a list of the 18 properties that are on Caravan. Now you can of course check and uncheck whatever properties you want. I'm just going to leave all 18, and what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the map tool up here. So we're going to come up to map, and when we click on map it's going to bring us to, hang on, let me resize that window. It's going to bring us to the mapping tool, and you'll see that the 18 properties here are all shown for us. Hang on, I shouldn't have resized that. There we go. They're all shown for us on this report. Now notice that there are some places where you have these green plus signs, and what that means is that there are two or more properties so close together that at that zoom level you cannot see them. So when you click on the green plus sign, it zooms you straight in, and now you can see the two different properties. I'm just going to zoom back out again so that we can see the whole thing. Now the system knows your home address and it knows your office address. Let me just drag that, so there we go. There we go. Right. The system knows your home address and your office address. What we're going to do is come over here to the right to directions routing, and at the bottom we're going to go to the drop down menu. What you do is you select either your home address or your office address, or you can type in another address of your choice. And when it comes into the field there, you press enter, and that will now put the address into the beginning of the list. Now to add these to the route, you're going to go around and select them in the order you want. The system is not going to choose an order for you. What I typically do is make a decision. Am I going to go around in a clockwise route, or am I going to go around in a counterclockwise route, and start accordingly? So I've decided I'm going to start down here on number 16. Left mouse click on top of it. It will show you the property. If you want to, you can go and look at the details. We're going to click add to route, and you can see that it's now added into the list, and it says it's 9.8 miles from my office, 15 minutes. And you then go round and you select the properties that you want to add. You do not have to add all the properties. You can add just the ones that you want. Let me point something out to you. Up at the top left here we have this sort of, looks like a carpenter's angle, but you have to imagine this is a rectangle, and if you have a property underneath that, you can click till your finger falls off, nothing is going to happen. Okay, so what you need to do is, if you have a property that you want to see that's underneath this imaginary rectangle, drag it away, and now when you left click add to route, you can do it. So I'm going to finish with this property here, and the last thing I want to do is return to the office. So this time I'm going to go back to the drop down, I'm going to select the address itself, and then once again I'm going to press the enter key on the keyboard, and it puts it in as the final place on our map. Now one would imagine that if you pressed map report you would get the report that you want, but there's one more step. You need to check this little box that says display routing map. You do not need to expand this map. If you wish to, you can click on the two arrows down in the corner. Just the very act of showing it is enough. And now when you click on map report, it is going to bring up the report that we want. And I'm just going to resize this a little so you can see it better in the window. There we go. And you'll see that the first thing we have is a map showing us where the properties are, and then down below we have blow by blow descriptions from point A to point B to C to D to E, etc., all the way around, finishing with a list of the properties and the prices and what have you. Notice that the other properties that I chose not to include in the list are also shown here. Now you can print this page, you can save it as a PDF. If you save it as a PDF, you can of course email it as an attachment to your client. As I told you, you don't have to use your home or office address. So you could, for example, do this with a starting point of your client's house and put it together for them. So that's how you put together the map listings. Now let me go back to the MLS, and what we're going to do now is we're going to look at using the mapping tool for an individual property. So I'm going to use the speed search from Class 1. I'm going to put in a listing number that I found. You'll see that it says I found one listing. I'm going to select it. Now, anytime you're looking at a single property, it kind of looks as though you're looking at the listing detail. But notice up here in the top left, we're actually looking at the search results. Now, you can access the map from here by clicking on this globe icon. But what I want to show you is that if you click on the listing number itself and go to the listing detail, and you can see its listing detail, it tells you right here, at the top right of every listing in listing detail, there is an interactive map. And we're going to select interactive map, and that is now going to take that one property and map it for us. Now, I deliberately picked this property because it is what is called a flag lot, and it highlights something really important, and that is that not just the position of the house is being shown here, the actual boundary points of the house are being shown here. Quite remarkable. And in fact, our system knows the boundary markers of every lot in Southern California, and when you see a calculated square foot for the lot size, it's actually calculated mathematically from those boundaries. Now, we have our property here. Wouldn't it be nice if we could maybe see some neighbouring properties? Well, we can. If we come over here to the right under map layers and select parcels, it's now going to overlay all of the neighbouring properties on the map. And when I run my mouse over it, it's going to show me who the owner is of the property. And if I click on a property, it's going to show me either 3 or 4 hyperlinks. Now this one has 3 hyperlinks. Let's see if we can find one with 4. Here we go. And so the 3 that are shown on every property is the tax information. That's a link directly into our new realist system. The county plat map, I'm sure you all know what that is. A property report. Now this is something that was created especially for us. And it's actually a kind of useful report that is meant to show you all the key things that you as a realtor would want to know. If there is a photo is available, it will show it to you. It will also show you the parcel boundary and then an aerial map with the parcel boundaries. And then the 4th one will only appear if the property either is listed now or has been listed in our history, and that is a property history. And when I click on that, it's going to take me to a link where I can see that this property was sold back in, oh no, it expired in 2011. And with the hyperlink to the listing number, I can go and look at the details of this listing if I wish to. Okay, so for every property, you're either going to have 3 or 4 hyperlinks, and the determining factor is whether or not it's been listed. Okay. Now, very nice to see this, but wouldn't it be nice if we could maybe pick a number of the neighbours and perhaps send some mailings to them or something? Well, you can do that by pressing and holding the control key. That's typically the bottom left key on your keyboard, and highlighting the properties that you want. And if someone's been mean to you, all you have to do is miss out on that particular listing, and you'll see well, that property is not a listing. You'll see over here on the right it's going to bring out the addresses and the names, and you can print these on labels. It prints onto a regular Avery 5160. Now with the new realist tool we have another way of doing that, but this is really a super quick way of just sending a few labels, printing a few labels just for the immediate neighbours. So I'm going to clear that. Now we're looking at this in the map view. You have 2 other views. You can do either an aerial view, which obviously is an aerial view, or a hybrid view. Now a hybrid view is the aerial view, but as you can see with the major street names on top. And notice that as I scroll in here, the boundary markers continue to be shown all the way through to the maximum resolution. Now obviously you're not going to bet the farm on this, but my experience is that very often, more often than not, these boundary markers are really very accurate. So it's a very good way of seeing on the ground where, you know, something like the boundary of a building falls in relation to the property line. Okay, so a very useful tool. Let's zoom out some more. Oh, hang on, before we do that, let's just go back in. Notice that we also have a bird's eye view, and with the bird's eye view you have 4 different camera angles. So here we're looking from the south looking north, here we're looking from the north looking south, west looking east, east looking west, etc. So you can get a pretty good idea of the property before you even leave your desk. Okay, so we're going to zoom back out and we're going to go back to the street view. Now notice that when I come down here to map layers, parcels up here is selected. And when I zoom out, you'll see that I have parcels, and I think one more no, they've now disappeared. Now, notice that parcels is still checked, however it's grayed out. And this is true for a lot of things in this menu. If something is grayed out, it means you're at the wrong magnification. Okay, so if something's zoomed out, just zoom back in and it will reappear. Okay, so grayed out means it's the wrong magnification. There are a number of different things you can do with this tool. One of them is listings, and I know my personal experience is that, you know, more often than not the first question someone asks at an open house is how much is the house around the corner. Well, here you can not only see how much the house around the corner is, but if you click, you can click through and go to the full listing detail and actually show them the pictures or what have you for that listing. It's not wanting to cooperate. Okay, so we're going to uncheck the listings. Notice you can do the same thing for pendings. They appear as little sort of flags. Okay, and again, when you run your mouse over them, it's going to show you the information. You can do the same thing for rentals. You can do the same thing for open houses. Now, this is a tool that's not used by enough of our agents, but you as the listing agent have the ability to put in not just when the house is going to be open, but you can actually put in additional information. So you can see here, huge price reduction, one of a kind Disney inspired home. A very useful tool. Okay, you can also see expired listings. You can see what's sold in the past 6 months. Now a lot of these things we also have available in Realist, but it works slightly differently. So this is how you would do it here. Again, if you run your mouse over it, it's going to show you the price, etc. And when we come down, we're going to have the notices of default. Now the NODs, you'll see that they're broken out up to 30 days, 30, 60 days. When you run your mouse over them, you're going to get some basic information. When you click on it, you're going to get more information. And when you go to the report, you're going to get pretty complete information. Again, we have this tool available also in Realist, but this is a pretty useful way to do it. Now, that's the last thing I'm going to show you here, because I'm going to show you a third way of accessing the maps. But I'm going to do that in the next video.